one of the things that I see that holds the majority of podcasters back from being, one, profitable, and two, actually seeing their audience grow is their true clarity. Their clarity about what they want, what they're actually doing, who they're actually serving, and that focus that it requires to grow. I do not like focus. I am an idea generator. I love to run at things 200%. But the problem is when you don't have your focus and you don't have that clarity, it becomes confusing. So today I am going to share with you a day one of the 4-day profitable podcast bootcamp, the podcast CPR bootcamp. And today, day one is clarity. So are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to the podcast about podcasting, where you guessed it, we're talking all things podcasting, but not just in a sense of strategy of how to launch, grow, and monetize your show. Of course, you're going to get that, but we're going deep into how podcasting can actually help you build your community, build your confidence, and if you're willing to lean deep into this platform, it can be the ticket to the life of your dreams, because it'll inspire you to go deeper, to get to know yourself. And as we know, success starts from within. If you are ready to stop being a ripple in this world and bust out your tsunami of change you know you were made for, it's podcasting for your soul. I'm your host, Jen Dragonette, so let's dig in. I'm so excited to bring this to you. If you're listening to this in real time, meaning when it drops on January 10th, 2023, that's still so weird to say, you can come join us live inside the community. And this Friday, I'm actually doing a 2-hour hot seat coaching. So all the information for that is inside the show notes, but you can find it at podcast CPR Bootcamp. We'll also get you there. And I'm just really excited. I am ready for you to resuscitate your business, and I will be dropping all 4 days. You will get them today, Thursday, and next week. So if you want to catch this real time, come join us. I also put the workbook inside the show notes for you, and that will be available forever. So grab that, get your booty in there. It's not even a link that you have to give me your email, which I know I'm crazy, but just grab the workbook, do the work, let's watch you grow. And if you need me, just reach out. You can do whatever you need to reach out, email me, sign up for a free podcast audit, but let's get you super crystal clear today so that you can blow up in 2023. Wait, I don't like the word blow up, so that you can grow and make that big money in 2023. Okay, let's go. There's this manifest this, manifest that, do this, ease and flow. It takes work, guys. It takes work. Some of these people that are saying these kind of things are 10 years down the line. And of course it's easy because they've already done the work. They've already done the internal work. They've already done the external work. They've already done all the work, right? So I want you to just take that with a grain of salt. If you have a podcast already, great. If you don't have a podcast already, this will still be helpful because this is your foundations for your show and your business, because they go hand in hand, right? They're not two separate entities. They're not like, here's my podcast, here's my business. They really should be feeding each other, because a simple sales funnel, which regardless of what you have to have a sales funnel, you have to have a way to explain your offer, talk to your people, and then give them a way to buy, right? That's a sales funnel. Whether you're doing that in person and you're doing that online, there is this method that you can actually have your podcast drive your conversations and lead into sales. And it can be that simple, but it is work. There's the people that go viral right away, but what does that viral, I want to call it like a viralism, actually do for them? A lot of the time they see this like growth immediately, but does that actually mean money? I've been talking to some people on my podcast because I wanted to truly understand these people that have 400, 500 plus thousand followers on different social platforms and what that actually is doing for their revenue. And I found out that they're struggling more than I am. And I'm not saying that I'm struggling. I consistently can bring in 5K months, launch months, I bring in 10K plus, and that's all I need. Do I want to up level? Of course I do. But I talked to one lady like a week ago, and she has over 400,000 followers. And she's like, I'm making about $1,500 a month. I had to go back to my corporate job. And she's posting all the time. She's showing up all the time. So I truly want this to be a time where you evaluate what's important to you, what's working, what's not working. I just released a podcast episode, I think last week. I forget which show. It's either Cure for Pod Fade or Feed Your Business with Love, about like really looking into what is actually moving the needle forward for you and what is allowing you to stay stuck in your own muck and stuck in your own stuck. We don't want to be stuck. Anyways, it's time to reflect. But that being said, you came here for the boot camp, so let's do this, right? We are talking clarity, people, revenue, profitable podcast boot camp. When I say profitable podcast, if you don't want a podcast, you can use these same tactics for your live videos. You can use these same tactics for your internet marketing. You can use your same tactics for LinkedIn. The foundations, regardless of the platform you choose to market, you choose to warm up your audience, are going to be the same. But it's time to resuscitate your business and turn it into a profit-generating magnet for the new year. And I'm all about podcasting, so I want your podcast to be a profit-generating magnet. Does this mean that you can have overnight success? I had one client that launched, and by her third episode, she had already started selling memberships. But she had an audience, although that person was a new person to her. She has no idea where she came from. It is possible, but I want you to know that podcasting is a slow game, but a slow game because it's a legacy content. So when you are like needing the money and stuff like, that's why I personalize all my coaching, even if it's a group program, because I always say you should start with what you've already built. Anyways, let's dig into this. So do I have your permission to make up words, have typos? Because English, although my first language, I speak Gen. Share from my point of view with passion. Sometimes you're going to hear me. I'll try to be as slow of a talker as possible. I'll try to like not scream into the microphone, but I'll do that. And then I'm going to take pauses to get grounded because I'm all over the place. I get passionate. I get fast talker. So we may pause to just breathe and know that's for me just as much as it's for you. And then I'm going to tell it as it is and share, because I really want you to take a hard look inside that says, holy crap, I've been working this business for however many years. I've been working this podcast. I've been doing this marketing thing. And it sucks. It truly sucks. And I have totally flatlined, and I'm ready to resuscitate it a little bit more. So what we're going to cover today is priorities, honoring them, resuscitating that inner fire. Because if you're anything like me, we joined entrepreneurship so that we could have time freedom, all the kinds of freedom, right? Financial freedom. Yet we've worked ourselves into a bigger corner than we were when we were in corporate. There's been times in this entrepreneur journey that I'm like, I could go back to corporate and I could literally work 8 to 5, make more money and have more time freedom. And we don't want that. It took me looking at my business and saying, holy crap, I'm spending my time on too much garbage that's keeping me hidden. It was a hiding tactic, 100%. But I want to resuscitate that internal fire because you started this for a reason. And then again, who you are and what you really want. And then building a course and a podcast and a marketing strategy around that. And then of course, I'll give you some homework because we like homework, right? So why is this important and related to podcasting? Because any business, the foundation has to be clear. That's why today's all about clarity. That's why today's all about the internal piece. Because when our internal fire dies, our business dies. When our internal fire dies, our marketing shows up with crickets. Our internal fire is the true key. So finding your priorities, finding what you truly want, taking that moment to reflect is truly 100% important to podcasting, important to your marketing, important to your business. So again, I just told you, why get clear? Because the more clarity you have, the less time you have to be spinning around in circles, hustling, doing all the stuff that doesn't work. Let's be honest. We don't want to do the stuff that doesn't work anymore, right? It's not fun. It's overwhelming. It's tiring. So let's just get clear. And again, there is the workbook. I dropped it in the comments. Friday is hot seat coaching, and that's going to be the fun day. And I'm going to open up my Zoom for a full 2 hours and answer your questions and actually look at your business. And there's always podcastcpr.com, which is a free audit if you want me to just skip that process and dig right into your business. So what happens when you aren't clear? You become overwhelmed, Olga. I don't know why I came up with Olga. She's just who I always have been saying. So yeah, you are showing up on Facebook, Instagram. You might already have your podcast rolling. You're like, oh, I should be doing TikTok. Oh my goodness. What about this LinkedIn thing? Oh, Pinterest. Oh my goodness. I need to be blogging. Oh, what's this SEO thing? And you're just like, whoa, I'm spinning out of control. And what's happening is you're spending 10 hours a day marketing. You're so burnt out that energy comes through in your marketing. And guess what happens? People are like, bye-bye, your energy sucks. We don't want that. You want to be successful, Sarah. I should put Sally because Sally is my person. But this is where you feel like you can. You feel the less overwhelmed. You feel like you're actually bringing things in and it's just magnetizing and you're filled with love. Does this mean that it's not hard? Does this mean that overwhelmed Olga and successful Sarahs don't have hards? Oh, yeah. But you get to choose your hard. And I want to choose the hard that is actually bringing stuff to my business. So who are you and which one do you want to be and why? If you had a plan where you could be spending the same amount of hours, let's say you and overwhelmed Olga and Sarah both are spending 20 hours a week marketing. What if overwhelmed Olga is spending that 20 hours and it's producing $1,000 a month while successful Sarah is bringing in $10,000 a month? See, there's a difference because it's proven that you still have to market. This 2-hour work week and all those things, that's great. But you do have to put the effort in. You do have to make the time. I have this happen to me all the time. My clients are like, why isn't my podcast growing? I'm like, because it's not, you're just expecting it to grow. You're not willing to actually put in the work. If you build it, they don't come. There's a strategy behind it. But that strategy doesn't have to leave you feeling like overwhelmed Olga. So I'm Jen. I'm a podcast strategist, mentor, podcast producer, podcast enthusiast, podcast junkie. I don't know if any of my craziness is I do have a master's degree in marketing. I have 7 different certifications in different wellness modalities. And I've kind of started combining this all together. I also am a crazy go-getter. I was afraid to fly. So what did I do? I became a pilot. Like, that's just my mentality. I love fire hose approaches. I'm a manifesting generator. So if you want to get from A to Z as fast as possible and then come back and really tighten up the screws, I'm your girl. If you don't like fire hoses, I may not be for you, but hey, that's why you're here, right? Are you tired of pivots, hustles, chasing money, and sick of social media? It might be time to think about legacy content, aka podcasting. You can blog. There's a few other ways that you can create legacy content, but I love me a good podcast. Take a stand, make it easy, scalable, and give up the hustle. This is your choice. It's a choice to be in the hustle. It's a choice to not actually reflect on what's working and what's not working. When I sat down and did this exercise and started looking at what I wanted and reflecting on the last 5 years of my business, I realized I did not make one sale from Instagram. I did not make one connection from Instagram. That was a hard pill to swallow. That was a really hard pill to swallow because, man, I was trying to make that feed all pretty and yeah, it just was not working for me. So really take a look at what's worked, what's actually building your network, because maybe if you're not making money right now, maybe there's a place that you've been working where you're building your network, you're building those connections, you're having those conversations. That's a success. It doesn't always have to be financial success, but you need to look at those things. So issue number 1 is that we're seeking those quick wins following the highlight and overnight successes. Those people aren't overnight successes. Maybe they had a viral video, but again, like I said, that viral video, what did that actually get them? Again, I talk to people all the time that have huge followings that are making peanuts. They're making peanuts, not even pennies. It's like peanuts because they're just not clear on all of these things, and they're seeking that validation. So that's another piece here, is that you're seeking those quick wins, but it does take some work. Unless you win the lotto, go buy a lotto ticket. And you can have somewhat overnight success. I launched my first podcast program, wasn't a podcaster, launched it, and within 72 hours sold it out. It is possible to have those quick successes, but you have to have the strategy and the passion and the internal fire to make it happen. And you can't do that from a burnt out standpoint. Issue number 2 is fear. So you light your fire, you've got your fire burning, and you're like, oh, good. And then you're like, whoa, this is really scary. Look, I'm lighting up the world. I'm showing a path. So you grab the fire extinguisher and you internally start putting it out. You go all in, and then duct tape across the ocean, boat across the ocean. You're holding it together by something that is so minute that could just fall apart. And that fear is scary. But guess what? I've flown airplanes that have duct tape on the wings, and I didn't fall out of the sky. So you got to trust those little duct tape nuggets to actually make it happen. And guess what? Fear is a freaking liar. Yep, a liar. A liar? Fear is one. It is made for us to stay safe, but it is also a way for us to stay safe. And you know what safety does for us? It leaves us stuck. I'm not saying go jump off a bridge. Maybe that's for you. Wear a parachute or bungee cord or whatever it is that you do. But don't always take the safe route, because the safe route doesn't move you forward. So fear keeps you in figure it out mode, not messy action mode. And I see you over there building Canva graphics, buying another shiny object, buying another course, buying another coach, buying this. I've done it. I spent $150,000 in the last year and a half on coaches. And you know what it got me? More burnt out. Focused on programs that weren't working for me, doing things, being in the action, being in this figuring it out, planning, blah, 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 blah. No, you need to take action. That's why when anything that you do, that you take immediate action. That's why I love the launch program. And what I just did last month is that in 2 weeks, we got podcast launched and out in the world, and now they're growing and scaling, because that fast, messy action is action. What was it I heard the other day? That action favors miracles, or miracles favor action. Because if you're stuck, you're just kind of stuck in your own muck. Miracles favor action. So the answer is to get clear on your soul aligned purpose, create a messy, step-by-step messy action plan, and take action. With clarity follows content. So this is all for content. So what fear looks like: perfectionism, overwhelm, hours and hours on social media, overthinking, overplanning, Canva, courses, certifications, blah. We don't want any of that. We need to anchor in our bodies and take that aligned, messy action. If you don't know what it's like to be in your body, I recommend doing some basic breath work. Even if you start with a box breath, just allow yourself to feel for a minute. I'm not saying go into meditation for hours and hours and hours, but take some time to actually feel what it feels like in your body. And I want you to do that as you're thinking about what's worked in your business and what hasn't worked in your business, what's allowed you to connect with others, what's allowed you to make money, and what hasn't. So let's dig in. Who are you? What do you desire? Tsunami legacy. Again, when you have this internal fire, it goes into your content. So this today is, if you take notes, if you actually do the workbook, if you actually do the homework, you will have content that you can use in your podcast episodes, period, end of story. Storytelling, people being able to relate to you is a huge part of sales. That's why we do this on a podcasting bootcamp. This helps you find your theme of your show, your legacy. It helps you create your pitch, because I do want you pitching to other shows. I want you to pitch to guests to be on your show, because it's all about collaborations, and it allows you to keep yourself in check so that you can focus on what's important. Again, I'm not going to go through all this with you. I want you to do the workbook, but just focus on what your priorities are. And I want you to think about your current priorities versus what you really want for your priorities, because joy for me was all the way down in the middle and my career was all the way out here. And that's just not in balance. My health was tanked. You got to find that place that feels good. And yes, you can work, you can balance. I hate the words work-life balance, because there's really not. It's always going to be this teeter-totter. I got to be in work mode. I got to be in play mode. But sometimes you get to work and play at the same time, which is really fun. I love it. So I want you to create a priority list, and I want you to start visioning what it looks like. What's the feelings do you want to have? All the feels are welcome. Yes, I'm rushing through this part because I truly want you to sit with this. I want you to take some time, grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, your favorite bubble water. I don't care what it is, but take some time. What are you doing now that you are? What does it look like? If you had more time, more money, if you were able to spend 20 hours a week and build the business that you desired. And I want you to vision, but I also want you to not go so big that it's, oh my God, I can't do that. Because our minds can only jump ahead so far. So like you can create that big picture vision, but I want you to also create like a vision for the next 2 months. Maybe that's an extra $2,000 a month. Maybe that's an extra $5,000 a month. Maybe that's paying off a credit card, figuring out how to buy a car, any of those things. I truly want you to take that big vision, but scale it down to something that we can like have little wins so we can ring the celebration bell of wins. If you don't have a celebration bell, you should get one. One of my mentors sent this to me, and oh my goodness, every time I have the smallest win, like I drank an extra bottle of water, I'm like, celebration, because we don't celebrate ourselves enough. So what are you doing now that you are able to do these things? Dream bigs, but again, think about the small things, being social. This doesn't have to just be a vision of your business, because your business is an extension of your life as an entrepreneur. Your podcast is an extension of your life. And what are you a stand for? What legacy tsunami do you want to leave behind? I'm a stand for putting self-love first and growing a business based on that self-love. I have fallen out of that. And it's hard when you fall out of that. And this is me being real, raw, honest with you, is that like I get into phases where it's like, oh, feed your business with podcasting for your soul. And then all of a sudden I go really into this masculine strategy. And I'm like, strategy. Well, you know what happens when I go to strategy mode? My business tanks. New clients don't come in. But when I allow myself to have fun and say, I am anchored in self-love, I am anchored in creating a tsunami of change where we don't have to always be in hustle mode. We don't always have to be in personal development mode to build a successful business. Is it important? 100%. But you can't always be telling yourself that you need to be fixed. So I'm going to stand for a legacy of owning your voice, owning your true confidence, owning who you are, owning your own unique weirdness. And you'll see that starts coming back because it adds a little bit more play, a little bit more fun. So what do you stand for? I have I am statements all over the place. I have sticky notes, like you can't see them, but this whole wall over here, I have a big mirror. I write on my mirror with erasable pens. I have sticky notes up there. I want you to find a way to remind yourself, whether that's a reminder on your phone, because remember when you start I am statements, I am enough. I am worthy. I am able to have a business. I am not successful. I am struggling to make money. Whatever you say, I am first, is something that your body believes. Your brain believes everything. So what have you overcome or learned? This is huge when it comes to building your business, because these are your stories. Your stories sell. Your story is someone else's life preserver. Guess what? They connect with you. You feel safe to them. They're going to want to work with you. What have you learned? Can you streamline that process? Like I said, I have a master's degree in marketing, and I have this whole podcast business that I've built up from being a production manager to actually being a podcast mentor. And I know how to streamline the process. I know the places that people get stuck because I've worked with over 100 podcasters at this point, over 100 podcasters I've worked with. And there's the same sticky points, and it's this foundation. It's this clarity. It's throwing spaghetti at the wall. Man, I love to throw spaghetti at the wall. I love it all. But I don't want you to be stuck for as long as I was stuck. I don't want you to be making $2,000 months for 5 years being like, I'm going to have to close down. We don't have to do that process. But you do have to do the work. You have to be willing to put some skin in the game, whether that's time commitment or money commitment. There has got to be a commitment for you. You can either outsource it and pay for it, or you can learn how to do it, but you have to put in the work. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to have this willy-nilly, thing, and it's going to be a podcast that goes out every other week, but I don't feel like it this week. No, you need a podcast that goes out every week. I don't work with people anymore that have bi-monthly podcasts. It's just, it doesn't work. You need that consistency. You're training somebody to come back and listen. There's a whole strategy behind that, but I've learned that. So that's why the stories are important. That's why what you've learned, whether it's formal education or just in life in general, what have you learned? What have you overcome? Makes you relatable, makes you an expert. How does this help with content growth and making money? Again, I told you, like your story, your clarity gets you really focused, that focused action, that's focused intentional action. But the thing is that money flows to fun. Money flows with fun. So as you're doing all of this, as you're remembering, like, oh, what's it feel like? I have to say that when I started taking part of every Friday off to go and hang out with my mom and go for lunches and hikes and shopping and all those things, you know what happened to my business? I started attracting more people. You know what happened when I put my foot down and I'm like, I am not going to people please to every single person out there, including my husband, who's not home all the time. He's maybe home on weekends. So I was prioritizing him and I let go of riding my horse. I got miserable. So you know what I did? I prioritized me and my fun, and it's improved everything. It's improved my business. It's improved my relationships. So that's what this has to do, is this clarity, finding your actual priorities and making yourself like a mission statement. Like this is how my life looks. I am only available for these things, and this is why. So again, because your ideal client is a past version of who you were. This stuff sneaks up on you over and over and over again. Your past client's probably spinning out of control. I know for me, I get really, really overwhelmed. I love new things. I love new ideas. And I was talking with a friend the other day, and she's like, you do realize that every idea, every single thing that you know, everything that you share isn't always meant for every person in the world. Every idea you have is not meant to be a business idea. Some of those things are just for your own pleasure, for your own happiness, for your own drive. What is it from your past version? How can you help someone through? I know that we have healers in here. I know that we have people that do energy work. We have hypnosis, which I love hypnosis, rapid transformation. I think it's rapid transformation technique, RTT hypnosis. I did. We have a person in here that I hope someday will go live and share her money mindset RTT stuff, because that really helped me get into this embodiment piece. It helped me clear some of those blocks. But again, it's about being aware and being aware of what you want, your past patterns, and finding a way to merge them together. So if you're really struggling with clarity right now, it's time to back out of the business part and think about the clarity of what you want for your actual life to look like, and then start building your business around that. Does that mean that you can start with a 2-hour a week business? Probably not. Well, maybe if you don't need a lot of money. It does take time. You do have to give it some dedicated time, and you have to be super intentional. But what happens is, like this last week, I'm running mostly on generator right now because we don't have power. This last week, I've had to be very, very, very intentional about my time online, because I know that I only have a limited amount of Wi-Fi hotspot on my phone, and it's not very good. And you know what happened in this last week? I got more done than I've ever gotten done, because I had to be super uber focused. I had to get really clear on what my intention was. I was almost last week was like, I'm going to cancel this. Our power's out in most of like our block. It comes and goes, it comes and goes, it comes and goes. I have us on generator so that if it goes out again, there's a backup. But what happened with that is it's okay. I have this much production. I have this much content. And instead of canceling this week, I made sure that I was intentional about creating PowerPoints, about creating workbooks, about creating and connecting with the people that were coming to this podcast event. So you can do that too. It doesn't mean you need 40 hours a week to be super successful. If you had 40 hours a week and it was focused, you can just grow that much faster or drive yourself crazy, one of the two. But it does take time and it does take effort, but you got to be clear on what it looks like. Because for me, being on all the platforms, until I was clear and truly understood that I was doing that, because what that was doing was making me so busy that I couldn't actually be seen and found and heard. You just please get clear, because know that the struggles that you've gone through is something that you can help someone through. So maybe you're like, I need to pivot my business because I'm just not in love with it anymore. Really think about why you're not in love with it. And if you do need to pivot, think about the things you've overcome. Again, this relates to podcasting because this is all content. 100%. This is content building. This is your core of content. This is what most podcasters forget to do. And they go out and I see it all the time, whether it's a healer or a business strategist. And I'm guilty of this. I'll raise my hand. And it's like strategy. I can't just listen to a podcast that's all about strategy. I need to know why I want this strategy. And that's what this whole clarity piece is about mixing that strategy with that story to make it relatable, to take your person, your listener, your ideal client on a journey. What was your journey? Can you streamline your journey? Okay, you took the journey up the hill, you went on the hike up the hill with all the stuff in your backpack, with all the things. You just kept climbing and you kept climbing and you kept climbing. And you're like, I've got a 200-pound backpack on. Well, of the 200 pounds that you carried, is there a way to lighten that load? Was there a shortcut path that you could have taken? That's what you help your clients with. That's why we go through this clarity piece. So for your homework, I want you to ask it's all about you. Get clear on your priorities, your struggles, your wins. Again, this is the foundation of your business. This is the core of your content, because this is what makes you relatable. This is what makes you stand out from the other person in your market doing the same thing. Whether you're a money mindset coach, you're a health coach, you're a podcast strategy, your stories, what makes you stand out in the market. And it's what makes you relatable, because remember, people don't buy products. People don't buy services. They buy you when they choose to work with you. Your expertise, your weirdness, your quirkiness. Like, people that come into my space know that, yes, I have a course, but I always do course and one-on-one, because sometimes that course of action isn't the same for every person. When you're working with somebody, and I know that many healers feel this too. You do a meditation for your whole group, and then you do a one-on-one meditation, and the difference in the outcome between that is huge. So what is your unique story? Because as you, again, individualize it, it grows and grows and grows. So tomorrow it's kind of the foundation of how we use this to profit. So tomorrow we're doing, today was clarity. Tomorrow is your P's. So people, passion, purpose, pleasure, play, and how to use those P's to profit. So your foundational P's, I should have put that in here. Your foundational P's is tomorrow. And again, there's cool prizes. Like, I'm doing prize packs. I'm doing coaching sessions. I'm doing, scholarships. There's a whole bunch of cool things I'm doing. So do that. So again, tomorrow we're talking about the P's.